what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh. People you should know. In-depth, one-to-one interviews with people of interest, hosted by WHKY First Talk's Hal Row.
I'm Hal Row, host of First Talk with Hal Row on 1290 WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Airs weekday mornings, 7 till 9, and of course you can catch us streaming live at WHKY.com. But today it's my pleasure to be doing the podcast with themesh.tv and get to talk to a couple folks who I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. Jeff and Carol Ann Hartman, good to see y'all.
Good to see you.
And happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You were married how many years ago today?
11.
11 years ago today. Good. You guys, she was looking like, I know. You have the answer.
I looked right at it.
She did. You had that right. Congratulations. And I knew both of you prior to your nuptials. Now, Jeff, I knew you when we were working retail, working at a music book video store, and you were my boss, and a pretty good boss too, really. And you treated me right, and you did me right, and hooked me up with some good schedules, so that was nice. And of course, now you were working at the store just before I arrived, and had left at that time, but I did know you through Jeff. And both of you have been involved with music for a long time, and I kind of like to get started there. You were on the program. I believe it was called, help me with the name of the band, when you first came on the radio program years ago.
When we first did your show, we were Scott Jeffrey's band.
Scott Jeffrey's band. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's go back and kind of talk about, because that's where I kind of picked up on your music career. We'll go back a little bit from that. But tell me about that band, because that was had a good deal of success, and it was enjoyable. So tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Well, we decided to give it a good go in the band music world at the time.
Right.
And so
about 10 years ago, right?
Yeah. So we decided to go with my middle name. We'll create a little anonymity there, but and called it Scott Jeffrey's Band. And at the time it was me and Carol Ann.
Right. Now you played what, keyboards and did the writing, right? And guitar?
Yes.
Guitar, yeah.
And
Yep.
Carol Ann, you were the vocalist, is that right?
Yes, that's my only instrument that I can play is my voice.
When you first started out musically, did you start off singing? Is that what you did as a youngster? Did you start off with vocals? Is this something you found later in life? Tell us a little bit about your history with doing the vocals.
Yeah. Well, my mother actually was offered a job in Texas, of all places, as an opera singer when she was in college. So I kind of inherited her pipes. And when I was growing up in the church, my father's a minister. Growing up in the church, I would sing any chance they would give me. Of course, all the special, Christmas Eves and all that fun stuff. And then, let's see. I guess when I met Jeff, he was in another band, and I started coming in and doing a little background vocals for them and that kind of thing. And that was the first time I had really used like my belty voice or tried to sing any other style other than very proper classical hymns and music and that kind of thing.
And that was a Southern rock country band.
Yeah, that's an interesting start.
Now you, how long have you been involved with music and writing and all that? Did you start as a youngster as well?
I started writing and recording when I was 14.
Okay.
And playing, I guess, when I was 9. So
Really?
Mom and Dad, hooked me up with piano and guitar lessons at that time.
Right.
And then all through high school played, and then right after, I guess towards the end of college is when I started auditioning for bands and joined a Southern rock country band called Southern Storm. And we got to open up for Georgia Satellites and Molly
That's pretty
Hatchet.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really cool.
So this is like Southern rock and roll, Marlboros, Jack Daniels,
Yes.
the whole deal.
Yes.
And then today it's a little different. Today, if I'm not mistaken, you have a group, faith-based music. Well, let me. Before we wrap up on that, I want you did the rock and roll stuff, and this is right out of college. So obviously, you had a good time doing that. And then, of course, Scott Jeffrey's band, and you continued. And I guess at some point in here, 11 years ago, y'all got married. So you were kind of hanging out come into the band, doing some vocals, and fell in love, I guess. And the rest, as they say, is history. Is that about what happened? You tell me.
Yeah, well, we did. Also done a lot of musical theater.
Right.
Okay.
That's how we
And
officially met.
That's how.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we met during a funny thing happened on the way to the Forum.
Oh, what a great show to be in.
I was the virgin.
Oh, okay.
I was the dirty old man.
Okay. How appropriate. How very nice.
And then we did the Fantastics right after that with John Coffey at the Green Room, and that's when we formulated our love affair.
I'm very confused by the hand motions you're making right now.
Yes, I am too. Actually,
It's good. It's a good podcast. That's why we don't worry about the hand motions. That's good. So y'all fell in love now. Of course, you're a family now. You've got a young son, Timothy, who's 9.
Right.
Yes. And then, of course, you have the twins. And they are. Help me with the names there.
Coble, my maiden name, and Kellen.
Right.
And they're 6.
Okay, very good. And I know it's a great joy to both of you. I know that
They are.
about you. But I want to talk about moving from kind of the Molly Hatchet, Georgia Satellites to more faith-based music. Now, did you find the Lord? Did the Lord find you? What kind of happened there? How did you make that? Because you're talking about you grew up in the church,
Right.
And has that kind of always been an important part of your life?
Yes, it really has. At some point, gosh, I guess I must have been 16 or 17. I grew up in a little country church, just 100 people. And one of the 20-somethings said, we need a contemporary service. That was back when the contemporary movement was just really kind of creeping, it had been creeping in, but
Right.
finally this country church wanted a contemporary service. And so they asked me if I would lead it. And I did that for a number of years until my father moved out of that church,
Right.
and we moved on as well. Me and my sister, and Jeff was just coming into the picture, I guess, around that time. And so, although we were out in bars on Friday and Saturday night, we were up at the crack of dawn on Sunday morning at church, doing that as well. So it was never an issue of one or the other.
Right.
That's always kind of been there. But then as we
And that was for you. That was your part. So did you
Right.
did you see this guy playing this rock and roll, this whiskey soaked, cigarette smoking? I don't know if he ever smoked cigarettes. And said, now
Thankfully
here's a good sinner for me to go and bring into the fold. Did it work that way?
Oh yeah, he's always been my pet project.
There you go.
Oh, I see.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Was there a moment or was there a time in your life where that was an experience for you? And I know that's personal, but I mean, if you'd like to share any of that, or if that's none of our business, but I just figure since you're in that now, it's just an interesting change from where you were to kind of where you are today.
Well, in my songwriting, I've always had faith-based inspiration, in my writing, but I never really transferred that into church. It was just, my own personal thing.
Sure.
And
More spiritual, maybe.
exactly,
Instead of religious.
right,
Maybe.
right. And I grew up in a Roman Catholic church and all that stuff, and very formidable. And but Carol Ann helped me transfer that inspiration and that songwriting into a church setting, and then it just kind of grew from there.
Well, what are you doing musically today? Tell us about the. Now, is there a group? Is it you two? How does it work? Is there a band that goes with you? Tell me a little bit about what you're doing today.
Well, the way we kind of do things today is it's the two of us,
Right.
and we actually operate under the name Hartman, just our last name.
Okay.
We do a lot of we haven't this year, but in the past we do a lot of worship leading, where we will come in if there's a worship group that needs a break, because those people are mostly volunteers.
Right.
They're surely, there are times when they get burned out. They need a Sunday off. They need a Sunday to just be able to sit
Right.
in the congregation. So we'll come in and take over for a Sunday, or we've done concerts, worship concerts.
Right. Is this mostly what they would call praise music? Is that a good way to describe it? Or
Yeah,
is it
there's a
just
lot of praise and worship music.
praise and worship music?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the way we kind of operate is we have a pool of musicians,
Right.
that are also Christian musicians that, a number of of each player and whoever is available.
So you got a couple guitarists that are in the area, call guitar first, and then not available.
We have a couple violin players, couple bass players, all of that that we like to slide in. We do like to tend toward not a traditional setup. So we have a bass player that also plays double bass, which is an upright where he can also then bow it and make a really neat sound with that, as well as the violin player. So
we really adapt to the setting of the situation.
Right, and we can do that the way we have it set up with our pool of musicians that we can then
that's
ask.
what Hartman kind of does now. And you've also, I guess, a lot of original music. Is this mostly original music that we do? I'm sure that you have some favorite hymns or some things like that people may be familiar with. But I guess when you go in, you're doing this a lot of original music?
Yes.
And you're writing this?
Yes. Both of us write, and both of us contribute to the writing.
Yeah. And then, of course, it depends on the setting. A lot of times we do have to mix in quite a bit of just normal praise and worship music that would be considered a cover for us, so that the people that are there know things and can sing along.
Right.
Yeah.
Your traditional hymns, what's your favorite? What's the one you like singing when you go into a church? What do you like singing? Really makes you feel good. I'm going to ask you the same question.
Well,
now I have a minute to think. That's great.
I mean,
Well, we do a really cool version of Nothing But the Blood. That's how would you describe it? Bluesy, kind of, yeah. So we like to take those traditional things and do
some different arranging and put kind of your own signature on them. How about you, Caroline? What do you like?
Oh gosh,
there's a lot of them I know.
There is. Hard to... I grew up Lutheran, so there's a lot of those old,
right.
marching hymns and things. There's actually an old hymn, and I don't even know if I have the name right of it, but the first line is not what my hands have done. And there's actually a contemporary artist that has taken it and added a chorus to it too, but it's just the most beautiful hymn, even without the chorus.
And this may be one that y'all would either perform or go in.
Yeah, we have done that one a number of times.
Well, now the project that, of course, we want to let people know about now is you have an opportunity online, and this is a national contest. And people go online and they vote for you. And we want to tell people that if you like them and you like the music, vote for them. If you don't like the music, you don't care, still vote for them because they're my friends and they're from the area.
The preliminary voting is finished.
Oh,
yeah.
We won for our region.
Did you really?
And we placed 7th in the country.
The nation, yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
318 bands?
Mm-hmm. Out of 318
bands, you placed 7th.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's great. Congratulations.
But
yes,
we will not be advancing into the final round because we could not work out the shoot times for a mandatory video because of Sound of Music. So the band behind us will be representing our district in the finals.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we're a little bummed about it, but we are thrilled that we got as far as we did.
That's huge.
And thrilled for our fans, all the people that voted and that also plastered all over Facebook the link and asked their friends to vote as well.
Yeah, we were just very humbled and overwhelmed by the whole thing. So.
You said, of course, mentioning Facebook and social media, I think that you folks were plugged in as early as anybody I knew with social media. This has been something, you're just a tad older than digital natives, but you're right there at it. And I remember, years ago, you talking about these things. Of course, right over my head, I was like, what? Email? I don't think it's going to catch on. I'm just kidding. But it was, I was a Luddite. They had to kind of drag me kicking and screaming. But you were there. And you were there as well. These were things that you were doing years before, really, I'd say on a local level, that they were popular. So you were plugged in like years ago, weren't you, Jeff?
Yeah. We would gather. We had our own mailing list. We would get people to sign up.
Yeah.
And it really was at the beginning before it really took off.
Even before Facebook, Jeff was emailing fans madly.
Right, yeah.
Come see us.
Well, it was cheap. It was inexpensive. It was free. Inexpensive. Great way to keep in touch with your fans. And to what it is now compared to when we first did your show back then, boy, it's really changed.
Oh, huge. Yeah, because I remember y'all actually brought a publicity photo, which was cool, which I still got. And then Caroline and I were talking about that the other day. So that was really great. But, it's great to see y'all move from that and starting off with the digital, age, I guess, and then moving right into it and doing such a great job there. Again, congratulations. Now, you submitted a song, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and the name of the song is?
Do You See Me?
Do You See Me? You want to hear? Can we do that now? You want to hear a little bit of it? Can we do that now?
Sure.
You want to do the song now? Okay. So set it up. Tell us about the song and what we're going to hear here. Whomever.
Well, the song was actually, it's kind of an interesting story behind the song because while we both write, we kind of write separately and then kind of come together to add extra background vocals and that kind of a thing together. But
not much different than Lennon and McCartney in two separate rooms, and then we come in and blend it all together.
Well, two separate rooms. You write in your room. I usually write in the car where it's quiet and the children aren't being loud. But that was the first song that we actually sat down and wrote together. And ironically, we didn't kill each other. Right. We didn't even have any arguments over it. It was really an amazing process. But it was written specifically for a movie. Okay. There is a local production company, filmmaker here, Bill Ron Productions, that actually Triron Productions. Sorry, thank you. That actually
Triron Films. I think that's what it is. Triron Films.
He actually wrote and filmed this movie, all in this area. There's things that were shot in Hickory and Morganton, but all in the surrounding area here, loosely based on his own life. Okay. And there was a scene in the movie that called for a concert. And they wanted it to be a rock concert. They wanted it to be something high energy and this, that, and the other. And there was a band that they had all lined up, and the manager of the band said, "Oh, no, this won't work. This won't work. Can't do it. For free publicity, but can't do it." So maybe 2 days after they got that call, they came to a church concert that we were having in the evening and just tripped over themselves to come and ask us to do this. So it was really a neat kind of way that it came about. But we wrote the song. It's not a in-your-face God song, but it is definitely about the movie and about the transition of finding yourself as a Christian and in that world, and then all of a sudden finding yourself at the bottom of a pit and just turning your back on God and not wanting anything to do with Him, and then all of a sudden coming back to Him and realizing the whole time you thought you were non-existent, He was seeing you. But then when you finally turn back to Him, you see Him too. And it's that wonderful connection, almost like the father-child connection of, do you see what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing? Oh, you see what I'm doing? That kind of a thing.
Which, by the way, our one of our twins, Cole,
yes.
He would always come up to and says, he would do something funny, and he'd come up to one of us and, "Do you see me? Did you see me? Did you see me?"
Yeah.
So that kind of, along with what Carol Ann said, kind of sparked the idea of, do you see me? And how we're often asking that of God. Do you see me here? Are you paying attention? And
this is "Do You See Me" from Hartman.
Of all my wrongs and rights, you see right through me, swinging on a pendulum, going where I'm coming from. You see right through me, underneath discriminating skies, endangered by incriminating eyes, powerless, eliminating lies, battle cries, strength will rise. You see me, turn around, I turn around, you again, but not alone because you see me. I turn around and see you.
We'll get back to your show in a moment. Just a reminder, you're listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Find out more at themesh.tv and give us feedback on what you like. And now, as promised, back to your show.
It's got to be a lot of fun doing this as husband and wife. It's got to be, it's got a spiritual nature to it. So that has to be a lot of fun for you two doing this. That's got to be. Maybe talk about that a little bit, Jeff. What it's been like. You said Lennon McCartney, but that's not. That's
It's a stretch.
I was gonna say they probably weren't as but just sitting down at the breakfast table. You know what I mean? But what's it like for you? Is this good? Is this like a dream come true? I'm sure it has its challenges, but tell me about it. Tell me about making music, spiritual music, faith-based music with your life partner, with your wife.
It's special. It's much more meaningful than anything I've ever done musically, and the people we perform it for too. It's for us. For me. It's the most meaningful thing I've done musically ever, and wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's not actually performed for the people that we're performing it
Right.
for. And they understand that, and they appreciate that as well. And they're working on their own performances, even out there in the audience. So,
I think that's very interesting and an interesting way to look at it. You said performing arts center. You've got a performing arts center that it's in its infancy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming along. Tell us about the performing arts. So first of all, what's it called?
it's called the Hickory Creative and Performing Arts Center.
Okay.
And the idea is one place where students of any age, not just school age students, but students of any age can come and learn an instrument, an art, a drawing, painting, creative writing, and then we use the word art broadly as well. We've got some teachers that teach crochet and knitting. We have a lady that knows how to.
Now, is this up and running now? Do you have this? Because you said we have teachers, but
we have the teachers. We don't have the school yet.
Okay,
We
gotcha.
don't have the building, and we don't quite have the funds yet to get it going. But
this is something you're working on, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I guess you envision lessons with these teachers that you've already contacted, putting all that together. And when you say art, you're talking about all these different aspects. Jeff, I guess you'll be taking a look at maybe keyboards, songwriting, guitar. What would be your areas of instruction?
Well, the past several years have been focused on singer-songwriter development.
Okay.
So that'll be a big emphasis for me, and private acting coaching to tie in with the theaters.
Sure.
And recording, post-film production, which is something we've been involved in the past few years. So, yeah, anything under the umbrella that involves anything artistic. We've even got somebody interested in teaching puppet making.
Yes.
So we've got a wide spectrum of folks interested in getting involved.
And just as a real quick aside, I'm going to let people, I would like you to tell the story just quickly of how a puppet landed you a role in a major motion picture. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're probably amazed that, how did he remember that?
Wow, you do. Yeah.
thought it
Not
was
many people remember that.
I thought it was very cool. Tell us that story.
Well, I had an opportunity to go be a part of, they were filming The Rage Carrie Part 2.
Right.
And that actually happened at Johnson C. Smith University in the Charlotte area. And so I went down there and I figured, well, I'll just be an extra in this and nothing really set in stone. So I had this handmade puppet with me in my robe. And this was supposed to be a scene in a mental hospital,
right,
which is perfect for me.
Exactly.
And so I had this little puppet on, and they're like, oh, we got to have that in the shot. So they put me right up front with Amy Irvin, Steven Spielberg's ex-wife, And so I got to be right there front and center with my puppet on my hand, my robe sitting in my wheelchair. And
the crazy look in your eyes.
The crazy look in my eyes. And yeah,
So rent it, go online, order it today.
Oh, I think we should totally get Foot Candle to review it.
The next Foot Candle Society. Now, as far as instruction goes, and I want to make sure I got this right. Hickory Creative and Performing Arts Center?
Yes, sir.
And we're going to be taking a look at the photography for you, I'm going to guess. Is that right? That's one of your areas of joy and
Yes.
of expertise as well.
Yes. I actually own Caroline Hartman Photography, and so
Right.
I do a lot of wedding and portrait photography, event photography. I do some work with local ballet schools as well as some of the theaters.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love doing events like that, live events. But I have in the past year been teaching classes out of the studio that we had previously, and when we get into the new building, I will be doing that again. Mostly classes for moms that have DSLRs that don't know how to use them.
Okay.
They're really intelligent creatures. The DSLRs, the moms are too, but the DSLRs are really intelligent creatures these days. But there are times
DLSR.
DSLR,
so digital signal
single
lens reflex.
Yes, thank you.
very good. I didn't even
trying to think. It's the new digital cameras that actually have a shutter.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So
yes. They're all over the place these days. They're really inexpensive to buy. They're fantastic tools for parents that just want to document the lives of their family, their kids. But as intelligent as they are, they still have their flaws, and it's really helpful for moms to know how to use them so that if they're just not quite getting the shot that they want on automatic, they can quickly flip it over to manual and really know how to make that work.
Because from what I understand, and I don't know, but there's aperture settings, there's a shutter speed that you have to take a look at. So maybe you didn't grow up old school with the old 35 millimeter cameras, but and this is the new thing, and you really want some quality photography, you can do that.
Yep.
Now, do you have a website that shows some of your artwork?
I do. It's my initials, CA, and then my last name, Hartman, cahartman.com.
Okay, and we can go there and see a sample of your work.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So photography would be what you're now. How do you do this? How do you put together a creative arts center? What are you doing to make this happen? Because this is obviously a project you're on. You're looking for building space. Are you looking for funding? Tell me about where we are with the project.
Well, where we are right now, we have a budget that we need to meet before we want to start opening a building anywhere.
Right.
Just the economy and.
we picked the perfect time to ask
We
people for money.
did. I know.
Perfect time to get into this.
We're pretty smart. But we actually, in the span of 3 weeks, raised half of what we needed just from in-kind donations.
Really?
We have a fantastic group of people that support us, parents of future students, parents of past students of Jeff. And so right now we're just kind of slowly looking to match that other half, either by more in-kind donations, or we have opportunities for businesses to advertise within the building. Not only will it be a space for students, but we really, really want it to be a community space. We want to be able to pay for the monthly expenses of the building with the classes so that we can say, hey, do you have a group that needs a place to meet? Here it is, free of charge. We'll even put out the donuts and the coffee for you so that we'll get more people coming in, seeing what's there, seeing the art that we have on the walls from local artists, seeing the spaces that we have, meeting the teachers. So it kind of all works together. They get a place to meet. The artists get people to see them that weren't even anticipating that. So there are opportunities there within the building for businesses to advertise as well.
So it's very exciting. I guess working on the bricks and mortar part will be difficult, but while we're waiting for the foundation to be poured, we do have a website. So we can access that. Caroline, what's the website?
Yes, the website is hickoryarts, with an S, plural, .com. hickoryarts.com.
Okay, and we can go and take a look at the progress and get all the information there. If we want to help out, get in touch with you all, that's where we do it.
Yes, and we will have Jeff and a few other teachers will actually be teaching in a temporary space until we get our space up. So we will have information on current classes there as well.
So we're looking forward to that. We'll keep our fingers crossed and best to you on raising those additional funds and getting it, because it sounds like it's going to be a wonderful addition to the community.
Yes.
Give a lot of folks, not just youngsters, but a lot of folks an opportunity to explore some of their creative outlets. You talked about the theater just a second ago, Jeff. Have you been doing any theater recently? Because I've seen you in some great work. I mean, I still remember because I saw one of your cohorts the other day who the complete works of William Shakespeare Abridged. Is that the name of the show? What is it? Something like that. But but I haven't seen anything recently. If you've been doing a lot of theater, you've been behind the scenes. Tell me about theater and where you are with that.
The last production I did was 25th annual Putnam County Spelling
Oh,
Bee.
you were in that? Okay, so I didn't see that show. So that's very recent. Okay?
Yeah, that was in March, I believe. I can't remember.
Right. But still loving it.
I still love it. We do about 1 or 2 productions a year. Sometimes I music direct, sometimes I'm in the show. And we volunteer any way we can to help the theater, whether it's an online ad, photography, helping here and there, anything we can do to support the theater. We just love it.
And depending on when you're listening to this podcast, Carol Ann, you are presently in a very popular musical. And tell us a little bit about that, if you would, being performed at the Hickory Community Theater.
Yes, at the Hickory Community Theater. I am I have the honor to play Maria in The Sound of Music.
Right.
As of the date that this will air, we will have 2 more weekends of the show at the Hickory Community Theater. And my oldest is on stage with me in his very first role as a Von Trapp kid. He's going to be Kurt Von Trapp. So it's a lot of fun.
So recently I know that you've done Chicago.
Yes.
I saw, of course, and you did extremely, and of course, then Gypsy last year, and there was another one just recently as well that that's escaping me right now before this one came up. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was just The Sound of Music that I was thinking of. But both of you very active in the theater, still very active as far as writing songs, producing songs, and so I wish you both the very best and continued success with this. Before we wrap up today, and before we kind of end things for this podcast, I know we're talking about the Performing Arts Center, but and that's kind of a forefront, obviously.
Right.
I want to talk a little bit about living in and being a part of the community in Hickory, Newton, Greater Hickory Metro. Your young people, your young parents, you could go anywhere in the country that you wanted to go. You could go to Atlanta. You could go to Nashville. What is it about Hickory? Why are you here? And why do you choose to remain here? For people who may be listening in San Francisco or Portland or wherever, what is it about Hickory that's cool and kind of happening for you? If anybody says cool or happening anymore.
Well, for us, I mean, you've obviously heard how much we are in the arts scene here, the music and arts scene, and for us, North Carolina in general supports the arts in an incredible way, but especially in Hickory, Newton, this area. We have a number of theaters. We have a number of children's theaters. We have any number of places where you can hear live music at random nights of the week. So the area in general, create an incredible art museum that's constantly changing and having new things come in, as well as not only coming in from outside of this area, but as well as highlighting artists in this area. So the area, I mean, for us in particular, for what we're talking about, is just an incredible source of art and music.
Jeff, how about you?
Well, for me, I grew up in New Jersey, so moving here was amazing to me because Hickory is in the center of so many things. I mean, if you want mountain culture and skiing and arts and crafts and just a nice place to go, you go up the mountain to Boone, Blowing Rock. I actually went to college at Appalachian State.
Forgot about that. ASU, right? Sure.
Yeah. If you want city life, you drive an hour to Charlotte and you hang out in Charlotte and you do all the millions of things that you do in Charlotte. You can go up to Asheville and be a part of the arts community up there. Then you've got, to the east, you got Raleigh and, the college towns of Wilmington and my best friend's an actor in Wilmington. He's always doing stuff out there. So for me, Hickory is right in smack dab in the middle of so many different things. So, I love it here.
We're so close to a number of large cities without having to live in the large city and deal with that kind of environment and traffic and all that fun stuff.
It's great seeing you all again. It really is. And I got to tell Jeff, you've aged really well. You look good.
Well, you too, Hal.
And you really have. You're looking good, man, and that's good because it's been a number of years, since we worked together and kind of hung out and got a chance to sit down and talk. So you're looking good, and thanks for joining us today. And of course, Caroline, always good to see you. We see each other a little bit more often because of the radio program and because of your involvement in the theater. And we're going to get you up early one morning, man, and we're going to get you on the show again.
Good luck with that.
And good luck with getting him up early. That's why you got into music, right?
Yeah.
Sleep late. Have a good time with it. Seriously, good seeing y'all. And thanks so much. Best of luck with the music, and best of luck, of course, with the Hickory Creative and Performing Arts Center. Good to see y'all. Thanks for joining us on the Mesh.tv. I'm Hal Row, host of First Talk with Hal Row. Airs weekday mornings, 1290 WHKY, talk radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Of course, join us live online and then throughout the day, WHKY.com. And of course, don't forget, check out all the other great podcasts on the Mesh.tv. There's a lot of great information. There's a lot of great entertainment. So if you're not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe and check out the podcast. They're updated really, really often. So make sure that you check out all the podcasts on the Mesh.tv.
Special thanks to Chad Austin for the show theme music. For more about Chad, visit www.chadaustin.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.